presented by Private Internet Access.
Welcome back to We're All Satoshi. It is the end of October 2017. I'm Falkvinge, speaking with Moritz Bierling from Neufund. We just had a Byzantium fork with Ethereum. There are forks coming up in Bitcoin. How is this affecting Neufund?
Well, we definitely have to always check the different clients of the parity nodes and these kind of things to make sure that when we roll out a new update to our code of the smart contract specifically, that we're not getting any problems. Also, we're currently working through our ICO or ICBM as we call it, and so we have built some of these more sophisticated monitoring tools to make sure that when we know when every event in the smart contract happens, what it means and what we have to take, what actions we have to take as a result. And so the changes to those forks and the resulting changes to those implementations of Ethereum always means some kind of technical hassle for us.
There's also hard forks coming in Bitcoin. Left, right, and center right now. Does that mean anything long term?
I've been not following the debates in technical detail much, but I definitely see the vitriol and sometimes then also overcorrecting civility of the discussion.
Right.
And it's a curious dance, show and dance just to follow, but I have hopes that the community can rally around the original promise of Bitcoin to decentralize the financial system and to keep that overall spirit alive, even if it ends up happening in different implementations and people going their own way in terms of what they want to see in the payments network.
I think there is something really important here, as in, this might not be about the technical details as much as it is about being socially civil and professional. As in, the community has gone quite toxic or unfriendly would be an understatement.
Yes.
in some aspects. And I'm getting this sense that at the end of the day, everybody just wants a freer market anyway.
Right.
So why is more competition such a bad thing in the Bitcoin space?
I don't even think that it's more competition. I just think that because we're all making use of a shared resource and there are specific incentives for the different roles that people play in that network, they have different outlooks on what is best for the network. And best for them, of course, because at the end of the day, the largest incentives are often those monetary values, not the kind of ideological values that don't buy you the bread. But I think that's a problem because it was not foreseen that we might have those governance issues over Bitcoin at the original outset. And remember, Bitcoin was not built as the final cryptocurrency. It was built as a test, as a proof of concept.
It's a complete wild experiment.
Exactly.
Nobody expected it to be worth $100 million.
And it's amazing it went so far already. Yeah. And I think it can go much further. But we definitely have to remind ourselves that it always, regardless of how beautiful the technology is, it always takes humans to make sure it remains that beautiful or even gets better.
Yep.
And actually, I wrote a letter to the blockchain community pretty much a year ago, and it recently came out on my feed again. And in it, I kind of implored everybody to not stay on this very techno-utopian path of thinking that the technology itself will solve the problems. It will not.
Right.
It never will.
Going back to your philosophy that it's getting your hands dirty in solving a problem that makes a difference.
Right. And then also I feel like often, because there are so many developers in this space, there's a lot of these, I wouldn't say autistic, but very kind of technical orientation. And oftentimes that's also a dislike of being around people or having to interact with people. I sometimes feel like that's the case. Not with everybody, and definitely not the defining factor, but often this kind of tendency leads to people wanting to reduce human interaction as much as possible and make sure that the machines do as much of that as possible.
I don't think it's controversial to state that among technicians there is less interest in social interaction than in society as a whole.
Right.
I don't think it's controversial to make that observation.
Right.
I mean, when I was running the Pirate Party, somebody pointed out that half of the people in the Pirate Party have a diagnosis and the other half deserve one. It was a little bit putting it to a funny point without putting it disparaging or talking down to anybody in any way, but it was a little bit of a funny point how people who have a technical interest tend to interact in different ways with people.
Right, but I make that point not to disparage anybody or to make it even controversial, but I make it because I believe that we have a lot to gain from taking seriously the responsibility of building adaptive, durable, and just institutions that use this technology.
Absolutely.
But that also inform it.
I think it was Rinji Gupta who pointed out this danger first. Leashless on Twitter,
yes.
One of the best visionaries
Absolutely.
I've had the privilege of having lunch with. And I think you pointed out very early, maybe 2012, 2013 sometime, that yes, cryptocurrency is technically superior, but it is not immune to human fallibility. It is not immune to social mechanisms.
Right.
And
right.
so
exactly.
So he pointed out this fallibility earlier than anybody I know, I think.
Right.
And still, you still have these funny things, like we said, Bitcoin was an experiment in circumventing the banking system. You had Julian Assange and WikiLeaks tweeting just this mid-October how they thanked the legacy banking system for cutting WikiLeaks off from donations,
yes.
forcing WikiLeaks to go into Bitcoin, which had now given a 50,000% return.
It's crazy, yes. Yes.
I mean, it's hilarious.
Yes, but you're right on the money with this kind of being vulnerable to social hacking in a sense. And I think you could even draw an analogy to the win of Donald Trump in the election in the US as well.
Mm.
That the founders never imagined that there would be a kind of vulnerability to the democratic system being subverted. I don't know whether there's any hacking or something. I don't believe that, but in any case, I don't think that they imagined that there would be this subversion possible, but it was possible because there was an alternative media sphere being built up.
Right.
And kind of the people on the left would say a poisoning of the information system. People on the right would say building an alternative, more healthy information system. So there's kind of this divergence of, okay, we are building our own media that has its own interests and has different interests to those from the other side.
Yeah. I can absolutely see if you're standing on the outside of the media platform and being denied a media platform, that you're just saying, I'm not going to accept the situation, right. I'm going to work around the system and build a new audience.
Right.
And I can totally see the people on the inside calling this undemocratic, that they are no longer the gatekeepers of the message, and the makers of the narrative.
Right.
And that doesn't this, you said that this kind of translates to what we're seeing in the blockchain. Maybe it's just the Bitcoin community. It's not the blockchain community overall, right? Yeah, I mean, I guess on Bitcoin, so much value rights that you have to, there are just so many actors already built up who have a lot of value writing on Bitcoin that they want to see a specific outcome. Right, and I mean, most other coins are valued in Bitcoin and not in central bank currency anyway.
Right.
So I guess it's kind of like being in Canada and watching the United States. Like, you're technically independent, you're doing what you want, but you can't help being affected by what happens in your southern neighbor. Right.
And I think that this poisoning of the information system, in a sense, takes place in the Bitcoin sphere in a way that there are some, again, controlled communities. For example, our Bitcoin people a lot of people are complaining that it's very
over 80% of content is being deleted.
Censorship, exactly. And another vulnerability that is not exactly analogous is that there are still Bitcoin core developers, and of course these are also open to influence. They can be pressured. They are also a bottleneck in the governance of the Bitcoin protocol and its evolution.
Yeah, nobody even considered social governance for Bitcoin. Right. And here we are.
Right. Now we have to deal with that problem.
And maybe we'll build around it.
Yeah.
Let's come back to that and see where we're going in the bigger picture in the next bit.